Welcome to Still Untitled, the Adam Savage Project. I'm Will.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Norm.
Well, good morning,
Hello.
everybody.
I think I just turned you up instead of down, Norm.
That's all right. How are your respective weekends?
Excellent. I did a lot of catching up on television. That was the main thing. What? Oh, I also went to a friend's son's bar mitzvah in Los Angeles. A young man. It was exceptionally articulate and lovely bar mitzvah. I saw my friends Will and Ann Wheaton there, and some of my other writer friends from Hollywood. It was delightful. And I did one of those trips to LA where I never actually went over the hill into Los Angeles. I was staying at the Garland in Burbank, and the bar mitzvah was over in Tarzana. And so I got to say, there are times when I just love flying into Burbank and not leaving.
Localized trips in LA are my
Yeah.
favorite because you never have to embrace the freeway traffic,
Right.
even on weekends.
Yeah.
And you never feel like it's the sprawl of it never gets to you, the
Yeah.
anxiety of it all.
Yeah.
Right? You have purposeful and Burbank Airport. Ooh.
I also had
Yes,
this
money.
little moment where, you know, the invitation said starts at 5 p.m. So I showed up at like 5:08, which meant that I was late.
Yeah.
Really?
Because they started really at exactly 5 p.m.
okay.
So I should have showed up at like 4:45. But I'm always terrified of being early. I'm almost as terrified of being early as I am of being late.
Yeah, you brought your wasp business to
I
that.
did,
That's,
and so-
that's an on-time event.
So it's already happening. I sneak in from the back and I'm like feeling kind of crappy because I'm late. Luckily, a whole bunch of people showed up after me. But as I'm sitting down, I look all the way across the temple, and there's Will and Ann Wheaton looking over and giving me a little bit of a wave. And I was like, oh, I don't feel so bad. There's my friends. And I caught up on some TV.
Nice. Well, we're going to talk about some of that TV today. I don't think we should go full spoiler cast. So let's be clear. You talk. You setting up TV. We have Disney Plus now. Disney Plus launched last week, and the big flagship show is The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian.
Half man, half
DeLorean.
DeLorean.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian.
I haven't heard
it's
that
a good
joke.
joke. Norm.
Yeah, it's gonna be. But we completely
The other
yeah.
joke on Twitter was, how many of you have dated a Mandalorian only to discover that he was a boy DeLorean?
Oh, nice. Well, you needed the bat mitzvah DeLorean. Yeah.
Before we spoiler, can we talk about Pistol Whip?
Well, we're not going to spoiler.
Okay.
But
Before
yes,
we,
yes,
Let's
go
talk
ahead.
about Pistol Whip.
because I beat levels on hard last night for the first time.
Single gun?
Single gun, no modifiers.
No modifiers.
I set up a mixed reality studio in the house this weekend.
Ooh, to film it.
So I streamed some Pistol Whip, and I beat the first song on hard, and it feels like a major video game accomplishment.
How are your thighs?
Look, I've been playing every day. I've been working out. I got a second battery pack for the Vive wireless.
Oh, man.
Nice.
So yeah.
I keep breaking things on my coffee table.
Oh well, yeah. Don't play near the coffee table. You're
Well,
supposed
this
to
is the problem. It's difficult to find an area open enough in my house. Because even in my office at home, where I can even push the coffee table all the way over. I've been breaking things, ducking.
So you don't have a backyard, right?
No.
You have like a little deck, or you
Yeah.
can go up on the roof, which seems ill-advised.
That
Seems very ill-advised.
But you could go to the park after dusk.
No.
Oh no, okay.
No,
never mind.
do you want? Sorry, that's way too vulnerable for me to put on something that inhibits my ability to see and hear.
You'd have
in
to
a
have
public
you'd have to have a
space.
minder. I think you'd have to have somebody with you.
That sounds even worse.
I've gone out in the backyard and it's awesome because you have a ton of space.
Yeah.
And yeah.
We could do a party where we, there's
yeah.
there's
of
a
course.
zone set up. But
That's right. The VR zone.
playing on. So I tried a few levels on hard. I've gotten through most of them in normal, which actually that in and of
Normal's
itself
hard.
felt
Yeah.
like an achievement because like Are You Afraid on normal
I love Are You
is a real ass kicker.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A delightful ass
Yeah.
kicker. And frankly, I tried two guns.
Did you feel more awesome or?
Two guns feels more awesome and less awesome.
It's way harder.
It's
but also not as hard in a weird way.
yes.
Yeah.
There are aspects. Look, the 2 and 4 shot dudes are trivial with two guns.
I find I'm using the two guns for like left arm, left side, right side.
I am too, but woe betide you if you miss one.
Yeah.
And you
Well,
don't realize it
Yep.
because as you're going, they're going to shoot you in the back of the head.
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah, it turns out you don't have eyes back there, and you're going to get shot. The thing I've tried lately is Deadeye, which means it turns the auto aim off. but it also is much more forgiving on the beat and the accuracy scoring. So like you get way more 200 points,
right?
But you also have to shoot like 4 or 5 shots to actually land one, even on the single shot guys.
What is your but when you had auto aim turned on,
what is your
70,
what is your
75,
accuracy rate?
80%?
Yeah, I'm hitting 80 pretty consistently.
Yeah.
I think it gives me an unrealistic expectation if I ever do paintball of how accurate I can be. Although the leg work will prep you because a lot of paintball is crouching.
This is just straight lunges for me.
Yes.
I'm like I assume the 3-point stance position with 2 feet ready to go down on the third if I need
There's
to.
a lot of butt out. Head down.
I also end up doing a lot of like rotating the whole top half of my body on a kind of a regular basis so that they have a chance to aim and then miss me as I'm exactly. Well, you're nailing it.
Straight Neo business.
I'm finding the game to be really, really delightful. I can't get enough of it.
I expected to kind of be worn out by now, but I've got the patterns so locked down on the levels that I played a lot that I'm just like, it's just muscle memory where the bullets go now.
I'm particularly fond of the ones where dudes show up in multiples way far away and you can bang, 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 you know.
There's a couple places on the hard levels where it will drop like 6 or 8 guys all at one time, and you just have to. Oh
my
God! And it's so satisfying.
Now, 2 things before we get to Mandalorian.
Yeah.
One, I heard you both saw at least episode 4 of Watchmen, which
Yes.
is last week's episode.
Yes,
The one with Lady
that's the
True?
one with the Vietnamese actress
From
who plays a
Downsizing.
trillionaire.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Confirmed, yes.
Confirmed.
Without spoiling,
She's
she's
the bomb.
amazing, right?
She's incredible.
And the scene where it's just her, Jean Smart, and Regina King sparring in her atrium,
her
right?
garden.
Her garden
Yeah.
is an incredible scene.
Wonderful. All 3 of those actresses bringing so much wonderful meat to the scene. Yeah.
I would say that I haven't seen episode 5 yet, but episode
I haven't
3 and
either.
4 are like 2 of the best episodes, maybe not best, but most dense, richest episodes of TV I think I've ever seen.
3, it felt like, well, we talked about this last
Yeah.
week. 3 feels like old Alan Moore writing. It feels like, like the real thing.
And I think it feels very much like a Damon Lindelof show. Not like, and I know a lot of people love her. It's a love-hate relationship with Damon's work, but Lost and Leftovers are all about people who are dealing with trauma and the support groups they find and the ways they deal with it in the aftermath of some big incident.
Yeah.
This show is 100% that.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. Like, it makes so much sense why he was tapped to write this, because I see echoes of the Leftovers everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, I went back and listened to the podcast with him and
Craig Mazin.
that you mentioned last week. And the first episode, the only episode that's out right now is about episodes 1 through 3. And as I was listening to it, 2 things struck me. One is that it's really weird to have direct feedback from the artist about the artist's intent on a Watchmen project.
Fascinating.
Because
because Moore wasn't
Alan
ever
Moore
going to
doesn't
talk
do that.
about
No.
it. Yeah.
I mean, the supplemental stuff that's at the end of the comics,
Sure.
like is his way of providing that. I think the fake biography and the pirate story, all that
Damon
stuff.
Lindelof very clearly says there was a time when he was watching the news and watching what's happening in Charlottesville,
Yeah.
and also reading Ta-Nehisi Coates' Between the World and Me, and those were direct inspirations for writing this show.
Well, he explicitly says, look, I looked at what was the major trauma for America in the 80s with Alan Moore and the Watchmen, and it was the impending threat of nuclear doom. What is the impending threat now? And he's watching Charlottesville on TV. He's like, oh, the white supremacists aren't wearing masks anymore. That's scary.
Right.
Why do people wear masks?
Why do people wear masks? Yeah.
Oh,
and
fascinating.
Comes back to it.
Nice.
But yeah, it is. So I never really got into Lost. I watched most of the first season and kind of was like, I don't think they know where they're going with this. Turns out
It's very
maybe
clear.
they didn't. Yeah. I bounced off of Leftovers in the first season just because I had too much other stuff going on. I think I'm going to go back and watch it
should.
now.
Yeah.
Because I'm just the richness of this world. It's every character in this world, even like the secondary and tertiary characters, like Angela's husband and the kids and these other people, like they each have their story.
Yeah. And each of the actors is being given a lot of room to bring something real and what feels like very real and genuine to each of the roles. And by the way, Regina King's husband is such a ringer for playing a young Delroy Lindo.
Oh,
I don't know who that is.
Is an actor you've seen in a million things. His favorite role is in a Mamet film I love called Heist with Gene Hackman. Delroy Lindo, literally, he's almost a hey, it's that guy. Fantastic African-American actor. And it's not just that Regina King's husband looks like him, but that they also have some similar acting mannerisms.
Interesting.
That I find there's some commonality. So there's this, I keep on thinking that he's Delroy Lindo's son. But
he previously, his big break was he was a villain in one of the villains in Aquaman. He was Black Manta.
That's why I knew I'd seen him someplace.
And he's cast in the new Matrix film.
Ooh.
As rumored young Morpheus.
Ooh.
Oh, is it going to be the young Morpheus stories?
I have such high hopes for the new Matrix film.
I remember having high hopes for Matrix sequels.
Here's my reason for having high hopes. They shot those two sequels together, which is, in general, in film history, not a high percentage. I think Lord of the Rings got it right, but I think Back to the Future was and this one was, Matrix was definitely
Yeah.
However, all 8 scripts for Animatrix are better than the second and third Matrix films.
So I still stand by the fact if you take the second and third Matrix films and cut them down to one film, I think there's probably a good, like if they were 2.5 hours of film, I think there's probably a good film there.
You're probably right. Probably right. We got to get Topher Grace to cut it together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or Joseph Gordon-Levitt, either one.
There
we'll
you
take
go.
either one.
So, okay, on from The Watchmen, Disney Plus. Okay, one more
I
thing.
just want to shout out, I didn't realize it was Lou Gossett Jr. was the wheelchair guy.
Yes. Yeah.
The old man in the wheelchair.
Oh my God!
Right.
He plays
such
older.
An idiot.
Right. He plays so much older.
Yeah.
I totally didn't. This is also like it took me forever to realize that Shepard Book from Serenity was Sergeant Harris from Barney Miller. It took me a million years to discover that. Louis Gossett Jr., one of the truly great actors of my generation, right? Like not my generation. He's older than me, but I grew up with him in Office and a Gentleman and all these amazing. Yeah, he's
it's
incredible.
quite a get for the show.
Yeah.
Also, did you like the Long Now? Clock on the Long Now
it's so
shout out
good.
Denny Hillis?
I noticed
that's
that.
Ooh, yeah, they're really
Bezos. She's effectively Bezos.
essentially.
Yeah.
Yes, effectively.
It's just there's so much there. Like it's just I can watch each episode multiple times and find new things every single time. Yeah. Anyway,
So awesome.
Before we continue on with this week's episode, I want to let you know that this week's episode of Still Untitled was made possible with support from Away. The holidays are the most stressful, craziest time to travel, but Away's products are designed to work and fit together, making travel smoother for the holidays and beyond. And in our line of work, for work during the holidays as well. A lot of travel we do for work, and one of the best things that I love about using the Away luggage is I can pack clothes on one side and gear on the other side. Seriously, I've taken their carry-on luggage to Canada with production gear, camera, tripod, podcast recorders, cables, XLR, batteries, all packed into one suitcase while still having room, plenty of room for all of my personal items and clothes on the other side. On this hard shell case, it's pretty awesome. No need to check any bags in. Away offers a range of suitcases made with different materials like polycarb, aluminum, and durable nylon, a variety of colors, and 2 carry-on sizes to fit your unique travel style. Their durable exteriors can withstand the roughest of baggage handlers, and a TSA-approved combination lock keeps your belongings safe. The interior includes a built-in compression pad to help you pack more, and a hidden and removable laundry bag that separates your clothes from your dirty clothes. Away products are designed to last a lifetime. If at any part of your suitcase breaks, Away will have it fixed or replaced. They also have a 100-day trial on everything. If you decide it's not for you, you can return any non-personalized item for a full refund during that period, no questions asked. For $20 off any suitcase or bag, visit awaytravel.com/untitled and use the promo code untitled during checkout. That's awaytravel.com/untitled with the promo code untitled for $20 off. Now back to the conversation.
Okay,
Before
moving on
Mando,
from there to Disney Plus's
Disney
new
Plus,
show,
yes.
Lone Wolf and Cub. I mean, The Mandalorian.
Yes.
Hold on, what's Lone Wolf and Cub?
Okay, let's talk about this first.
Okay.
Okay.
Lone
We're not going to
Wolf-
do spoilers. First of all, we acknowledge that more than half the world doesn't have access to Disney Plus right now. UK folk don't get it till next March. I'm really sorry about that.
So we're going to talk about it in a spoiler-free. We may talk about some broad strokes, but we will not talk about plot points. We may talk about a character here or there, but for the most part,
Yes,
we
and
will.
more about the way their approach to making this serialized television Star Wars.
But the first thing you need to know is that it's really clear that this series seems to be going in a Lone Wolf and Cub direction. Now, famously, Lucas based a lot of the plot of the original Star Wars films on Japanese samurai films.
Fortress.
Including, Hidden Fortress is spectacular and clearly one of the main influences. There are also ancillary characters in Kurosawa's films that C-3PO and R2-D2 are absolutely mirroring. And Favreau, who created Mandalorian, seems to have taken the same direction. So Lone Wolf and Cub is this, I think, 14 movie series in Japan.
Good God.
And it was also a television series
and
as
a manga.
well.
And
right. And it is about a samurai traveling with a baby. And it's half of it is paternal, lovely scenes of the samurai taking care of this baby, and the other half are blood-curdling violence while he protects the baby. And also in Lone Wolf and Cub, the baby carriage is itself a secret weapon with tons of like shooting darts and arrows and all sorts of booby traps.
Okay.
It is actually a prop that Guillermo del Toro asked me to replicate at one point.
Oh, wow.
And it's still a grand plan. I have a whole folder of the reference images. It's something I'm considering.
Okay.
I was doing a thing for Criterion where I was interviewing G, and the Peter Becker and G were talking. Yeah, they were agreeing that if there was a Criterion movie I should replicate a prop from, it was Lone Wolf and Cub.
Nice.
I've got to go find these. I've never seen these before. And if they're Criterion, then they'll be on the service. I guess.
Yes, and they're terrific. They're wonderful. They're much loved, deep series with a long history.
And that idea of pairing this kind of the stoic samurai war Ronin, essentially, who is in any other Kurosawa film, unbeatable and without fault, but pairing them with a vulnerable child to then bring the humanity out of them, but also create these incredible slapstick comedic moments in the fighting, in the action sequences.
Yeah.
What a perfect combo.
But I will also say that the slapstick and comedic parts of the fight scenes don't feel any less dangerous for our characters. Like sometimes you get slapstick, like hobbits and barrels going through things that are so impossible, they don't feel like there are any stakes.
Right.
In this, even though there's some funny bits, it's sort of shocking how much you're like, damn, he's in trouble.
And every modern action film that takes that trope of the hero, unbeatable hero carrying a baby, Clive Owen's Shooter was all about that. Shoot 'em up,
and Transporter
Fast Seven had that as a whole sequence.
Baby,
it's all pulled from Lone Wolf and Cub.
So the thing that struck me about Mandalorian, watching it, having never seen Lone Wolf and Cub, is it feels like it's paced. The first episode especially is paced like a spaghetti western.
Yep.
Like a Sergio Leone.
Not only paced, but shot.
Yeah.
Right. So there's tons of, and that's the thing I love. Second episode even leans heavier into that, where shots feel very cinematically like Kurosawa shots from samurai films, which are also borrowing heavily from the film iconography of John Ford and the early Western makers. All of that was grabbed by Sergio Leone and then reinterpreted by Clint Eastwood. This is this lovely. So I've always been fascinated about the part of film history where the American Western goes to Japan, gets reinterpreted, and reinvents Japanese cinema under the aegis of Kurosawa, and then Leone takes that and runs with that. I hadn't fully inculcated, I hadn't fully understood the way in which Star Wars plays into that whole scene.
It's in the conversation.
And and the Mandalorian is great. Can I talk about how great Pedro is?
Pedro Pascal.
Pascal as the Mandalorian. Like, I had thought that up till now, the best I haven't seen your face performance to me is Karl Urban as Dredd in Dredd 3D.
No doubt.
Right? Unbelievable amount of characterization for not showing a lot of your face. This role,
it's all lip acting there.
Even it's really impressive. The helmet which is clearly a super important character in the film, is a impressive and beautiful piece of design and character. And Pedro Pascal brings a tremendous amount of character to this role, given that you, at least until this is one, you don't see his face. He's hidden in the mask.
We moved from the man with no name to the man with no face. So.
Right.
It's the thing that I love about this is they took something that's familiar, you know, the Boba Fett armor that has massive extended universe stories, and I guess the Jango Fett if we want to talk about that. But they take this concept of the warrior cast, and instead of like filling in a plot hole, right, which Star Wars has tended to do recently, like, hey, do you want to know why the Kessel Run was 12 parsecs? We can make a movie about that.
I don't care. Yeah.
Or you want to find out how they got the stolen Death Star plans? We got that one too. I mean, that one, I love that movie.
Was all right.
But,
yeah. Turns out they're stored in a VHS.
Yeah, but the point is, instead of when you have those stories where the holes are where you're filling in holes, there's not as much. The stakes aren't as high.
It doesn't
and
feel,
the one thing that I loved about the first episode is the stakes feel incredibly high. Like you know exactly where he is.
And it's about 5 years post Jedi. Am I correct?
I don't know the exact time of post Jedi.
I think I read that it was Battle of Yavin plus 9, and Jedi is Battle of Yavin plus 4, and so this is about 4 or 5 years after Jedi.
Versus the Star Wars video game that came out last week, which is 5 years after Revenge of the Sith.
Oh wow! Between 3 and 4.
Yeah, between 3 in the hole.
Yeah.
I love. This is not a spoiler because you read about it. I love Werner Herzog.
Yes.
Playing.
I just want more of him.
What's that?
You want more of the monologuing.
He is so great. I love that guy. I love his films. I love his documentaries.
Yeah.
I especially love it when he plays villains.
You told me, hey, go watch the first Jack Reacher. Skip the second one.
Yeah.
Werner Herzog, best villain I think I've ever seen in like a thrillery kind of action movie.
He still scares me today in his role from Jack Reacher.
Terrifying.
Right.
But yeah, no, he's spectacular. The kind of Taika Waititi as IG-11, is that right?
Oh, is that who that is?
It is.
Yeah, that's Taika Waititi.
I think it's IG-88.
No, IG-88 is from
IG-11.
Empire Strikes Back. This is a completely different robot.
Watching IG-11 was is a robot in the first episode. And
an assassin droid.
An assassin droid. Delightful characterization for a droid. Like 3 new things, right? The way his eyes move, the way his hands move, the way he shoots, and his almost Asperger's way of talking is super enjoyable. Like a terrific characterization.
It's a little bit Drax-like in the way they take the literal interpretation, and that plays off a great comedic effect. I think he's also a director in one of the episodes, so that's another interesting thing. Even though it is a serialized story, they have this vision for at least one season. They bring in different directors to interpret their vision.
Well, and even more than that, I noticed that Favreau's co-creator directed the first episode and wrote the first episode, and Favreau wrote the second episode.
Yes.
So clearly they're handing off, and each time the show really takes time. It takes time. There's some lovely moments of silence in both episodes.
You don't get that ever in Star Wars because everything is, I mean, unless you watch the Clone Wars stuff, but in live action Star Wars, you don't get quiet moments, and it is slower pace.
And I noted that the second episode was only about 33 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And yet it didn't feel like that. And so I was watching the scene where the Mandalorian's going through a doorway and just slowly and thinking, just as what you said, what a lovely thing to have this pace slowed way down. I think this potential future for Star Wars, where the universe gets a chance to breathe on television, is very exciting.
What's the thing it hasn't gotten to do in especially the new trilogy, the second trilogy, the first, it never breathes.
Doesn't always have to be force powers and lightsabers.
I mean, there's still time. Sure. I was a little bummed out by the first episode. Like I came straight from watching 3 or 4 episodes of Watchmen, this incredibly dense, like richly layered, like thing, like a puzzle box to kind of open up or an onion to unpeel, whatever metaphor you want. And I came into The Mandalorian and I watched the first episode. That's really pretty. I like the characters. The performances are great. Little thin.
The second episode will make you very happy.
I watched the second episode.
Okay, you have. Okay.
Yeah, the second episode, like there's more narrative struggle. There's the stakes are real now. It's bringing more to it. It's giving me hope that it's going to continue building.
All right.
Yeah. I enjoyed. Look. I'll keep watching.
I think we've all enjoyed it, and we should not say any more in fear of spoiling too much for
upset
people.
the UK folks.
I do want to give the highest recommendation. And Disney Plus, if you subscribe to the service, it's back catalog mostly, right? It's great if you have kids because you're going to get all the Disney stuff, all the
Computer or tennis shoes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my God, that's right. Kurt Russell.
Hold on. This piece of content does not reflect current societal standards.
No clunky.
So there's a disclaimer.
Yes.
Before I'd say, let's see, a third maybe of the back catalog.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And it actually says that.
Well, they don't put it on the video. It's only on the descriptions. So, like, for example, Peter Pan, racist as hell. Really, really bad.
Star Wars has a smoking warning in it. There's depictions of drug use in Episode 4, and it's like, I guess they're smoking
Because it's rated
hookahs
G.
in the
Isn't it?
cantina. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, they're a big company. They got to protect themselves. Whatever.
By the way, the beings that Salacious Crumb is one of don't get well treated.
So I was gonna say that's one of the things that I loved is like they set up this world, and like that's the kind of Easter egg I love. It's not like filling in a plot hole. It's not like explaining the origin of some bullshit.
Yeah.
It's just saying, hey, this is a probably mostly sentient being that these people are eating. This is a bad place.
Yeah.
And I get that because I remember Salacious Crumb, but the people who don't know the Kowakian monkey lizards don't know that.
Is that what it's called?
Salacious Crumb is a Kowakian monkey lizard.
I really appreciate
you get the points
that you know
today.
that.
Yeah.
Points for Will. So there's a lot of back catalog. Every episode Simpson. I think Disney has come out to say that starting next year they're going to reformat the Simpsons to
Thank
4x3
God.
and not 16:9 because right now it's as it is broadcast on cable, which is scaled up to HD, but you lose the top and the bottom, and you lose many jokes that way.
The famous example is the
Duff beer.
Duff factory where the Duff pipe goes down and it branches three ways to go to Duff Light, Duff, and Duff Dry. It's the same pipe.
Oh my gosh.
But it's cut off.
Right. So but the fans have spoken.
Yeah.
They're going back. But there are a couple original shows, one of which I think is worth the subscription alone. It's called The Imagineering Story. It's a documentary series, 6-part, 2 episodes are out right now, directed by Leslie Iwerks, who also directed the Pixar Story documentary. A lot of people may have liked that one.
Yeah, it's great.
All right.
And she comes from a family of Imagineers, and it is unprecedented access into Imagineering and the history. You see there's footage, archival footage from the 50s of Anaheim being orange groves and being bulldozed and them building the 20-foot mounds around the edge of the perimeter of Disneyland and then laying down the railroad track.
Amazing.
Wow.
And literally
Oh my God. Okay,
the Jungle
totally.
River, like even if you're not, I know Adam, you're not a big fan of like being at Disneyland, but the Imagineering idea,
It's
like
not that I'm not a fan. It's just not. Anyway.
not for you, like the crowds and stuff. Yeah. But the development of audio animatronics, like they have stories.
That sounds
from
great.
I can't wait.
Imagineers about how Lincoln would spaz out, lightning storms would cause all his circuits to break before it debuted at the World's Fair. I was crying at the end of it. It's so good.
Wow. Amazing. I also want to give a shout out to His Dark Materials, which is on
HBO.
So this is a television series that is a recapitulation of the Philip Pullman books, The Golden Compass, the Amber Spyglass, and The Subtle Knife. Is it called The Subtle Knife?
Is the Golden Compass the creepy? That's the no.
It was a
that's
movie with
Okay.
Nicole Kidman and Daniel Craig from a few years ago that was really good and well made. Eva Green, a tremendous cast. It just didn't take off. But one of the reasons that it's tough is that it's a very dense book. It's a very dense trilogy of books with some amazing fantasy writing of a world that's close to ours, but not quite. It's the perfect form. It's the perfect story for a long form television show. And I'm 2 episodes in. The 3rd episode came up last night. I haven't watched that one yet, but it's terrific. Lin-Manuel Miranda's in it.
He plays a Texan.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's a beautifully made show, and I'm really excited about where it's going to go. It's one of my favorite trilogies of fantasy novels.
I love that we're talking about TV shows that are airing every week instead of getting dumped 25 at a time or 10 at a time or whatever. so that you hammer through them as
What?
fast as possible and have no time to think about them.
Do you know who else watches TV and doesn't binge it? Is Will Wheaton.
I hate
lets
the binge.
it gestate and watches
Yeah.
an episode and thinks about it for a few days, just like you do.
I mean, well, we're both old, but think about, like, I think about the, like, you mentioned Will Wheaton, so I'm going to bring up TNG, but like, I think about that wait between Best of Both Worlds Part 1 and Best of Both Worlds Part 2, which was like May to August, maybe. But I spent that whole summer wondering what the hell how is Picard going to get out of this? How are they going to get Picard out of this?
Who shot Mr. Burns?
Right. Turns out it was Maggie. Who knew?
It's all right.
Spoilers.
30 years old.
Yeah. I'm stoked that people are making TV that's not binge TV and that you want to think about something.
Very exciting time.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's a good place to wrap up. We actually have a lot of exciting stuff going on this. Oh my God. I got to juggle in my head what we can and
what
what
can
we
you
cannot
talk
talk about.
I know.
We have some nice show and tells from the cave. So I know we're approaching the holiday season, but Adam, you got a chance to show off some of your very first projects, things that people may have spotted in the background. So those stories are going to come out rolling this week. I went to a model making convention at the Westfield Mall in San Francisco over the weekend. Yeah, small little first year it's ever run for Gundam and Mecha, and chat with a few builders there, and some of those videos are coming out soon.
Oh, sounds awesome.
A lot of fun. And this weekend it's Designer Con. I'll be down in Anaheim. Wow, back in Anaheim. And it'll be 3 days. If you're in the Southern California area, it is one of my favorite conventions of the year. A lot of our friends of Tessa are going to be there. Melissa Ng is going to have a booth there and sell some exclusive stuff. Jason Freeney is going to be there signing his figures.
You got to get me some Jason Freeney exclusives.
I'm going to look for expect a bunch of text messages,
Okay.
images.
Yeah.
And all you do are the thumbs ups and things will be gotten. And well,
TechPod this week, we talked about autonomous cars. So it's a huge topic. Like, the technology is complicated. So we really just got in at the top and talked about the different. You hear about the levels, right? Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. We explain how that stuff works and kind of what to look forward to and where things are going and
how slow they're
and how slow it's and how hard it is. How level 5. You know, it turns out the robots may not be able to drive on ice.
Yeah, well,
ever.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah. Hey, as a note, we've been talking a lot about VR because we've all been playing with the Quest a lot. And I am still seeking a certain kind of experience, which I may just have to shoot myself, film myself. And that is, I would love to just stand in a open space and take it in. And I'm having trouble finding footage that is like standing at the shore of a mountain lake for like a 5 minutes meditatively just taking it in. And hearing the sounds. I don't want music. I don't want to wander. I just would like this sort of a quiet meditative space.
The Vive tutorial, the lab thing has that, but it's all photogrammetry spaces.
Yeah, I mean, and that might be what Adam, what you want. Photogrammetry.
Maybe, and it may be that I've got to spend a weekend traveling around with one of our rigs around the Bay Area, grabbing 3 to show people what I'm thinking
Top of Twin Peaks.
You know, and because there's an aspect of when I'm standing there, like, well, I've said this before, all these transition spaces in the games where you're kind of waiting for something to happen, I'm finding those really lovely, and I would love to just spend some more time in them.
Yeah, it's one of the things that's always striking is that, like, my VR room is a 10 by 10 foot room, right?
Right.
So when I take the headset off, it always feels really claustrophobic because I've gone from this huge infinite imaginary space into like, oh, I'm back in the house.
Exactly.
It's a fun thing. If you want to see the mixed reality stuff I shot, which it turns out you guys did a great mixed reality video, a couple of them actually.
With Adam's build,
with the Adam's Quest build. But I did the thing on the Twitch channel last night, so it's twitch.tv/notthatwillsmith.
Alrighty.
Okay.
And you can find all other stuff at test.com. Thanks so much for listening this week, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Guys.